here we are. All right, y'all. Finally, get up here with a motivational Monday message for y'all. You have to excuse the background there. Doing the best we can. I've got to sort through stuff and all of that. But anyway, I wanted to get up here and let y'all know that the devil's time has run out. That's what the Lord put on my spirit. When he told me when I got here, he told me that the devil was at bay. Oh, you better believe it. Oh, it don't mean he don't still try some little wonky things here and there with head games, but that's it. Because it gets to that point when you realize that the only thing he has is head games. And so we're able to think clearly now. We're where we've been wanting to be for a while and sorting through some things. And I want to say a huge thank you, okay? So I'm going to wait for y'all to get those notifications. And as those notifications go out, I'm going to go ahead and do our usual check here. I just have to tell you that it's been quite the journey. It has been quite the journey, but a great one. So many lessons that we have been learning, and we continue to learn. That's why I invite y'all to come with us on this journey in God's reality, in the spiritual awakening. So let me give this just a second because it might ask me to log back in. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and remind y'all, because the devil's time is always short. It means we're going to catch on to his shenanigans. And it's nothing new under the sun. I just wanted to... Okay, and then also I'll go ahead and let y'all know that the window is open just a little bit for some air. And so you might hear occasional outside noise, okay? So I'll go ahead and get that disclaimer out of the way and just let y'all know that, the devil's time, when it runs out, that's it. That's it. Because like I've shared before, the devil tried like hell to prevent us from making it to Laredo, Texas. But you see, you can't stop God. And I know a lot of the reasons why, okay? I've been unlocking that treasure left and right. There are so many places to explore, sightseeing, hiking. I'm excited. I get to bring y'all with me. I just posted one of them on TikTok. Yes, I sure did. I took a hike. Okay, yours truly, and I said, all right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with TikTok. We're gonna get the feel for this. Of course, the phone's moving because I'm walking, but yeah, I just want to share that with y'all. It's on TikTok, and I put "Welcome to Laredo, Texas" at the top there, and so I give a little bit of a backstory, okay, for a few minutes, a little video. Took y'all hiking with me for a few minutes over there on TikTok, and so you're gonna see more of that. Okay, you're gonna see more of that coming because I am finding, wow, not just like local parks, but state parks and hiking trails. I mean, it's not like mountain hiking or anything, but still, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and then there's lakes. Oh gosh, yeah. So I'm still taking it all in myself and learning how to navigate through the cities and the towns without using my GPS as often, because the phone gets pretty hot in the car, and so GPS won't stay on. But nonetheless, I got to learn my way around here anyway. You know, I shouldn't have to, and we were doing very well. As long as I remember, okay, this is the way I got there. All right, the way I'm gonna come back. What's the name of the highway? That's what, oh, Spur. Okay, a Spur, I gotta get back on Spur. I gotta get back on Spur, whatever number, 400, Spur 260, Spur 46, whatever it is. And so that's the name of the highway. But so we're doing that. And so while we're exploring, I thank y'all, okay? A huge thank you to all of you for your continued patience, because it took us about a week. And so I didn't drop as much content this past week, but that's about to change, okay? We're getting back on our content creation strategy schedule, if you will. And as we start to do that, so I'm going to bring you all a lot more of those little hiking videos and stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited to bring y'all with me in this next season. And you're going to love this. You're going to love this, because I know that Chosen One, we are adventurous. And I know we got a fellow chosen one who said that they're more adventurous than Indiana Jones. I was like, okay, all right. But we are. We like to be outside in nature, and that's part of our natural thing. And I think about Jesus. I think about how Jesus, he was outside the majority of the time, outside walking through the desert to get to where he needed to get. He was always walking. And his disciples had to tell him to sit down and eat something sometimes. And so I think about that. And I'm going to give y'all this, because the devil's time has run out. The devil's time has run out. I've been feeling it in the spirit where there's more high vibes here than where I was. I can tell that. But I also have spotted some narcissists, of course. You're not going to go anywhere in this world and not spot a narcissist, okay? You're going to see them. They're going to show themselves. So anyway, and they're going to put out little remarks, especially when it comes to your outward appearances, or let's say you're getting some sunshine, and so you might be a little pink, and they want to try to mock. Remember, God is not mocked. Be not deceived. Okay, so I want to get on here and tell y'all the devil's time has run out. It has run out for God's chosen one. We start to see through his shenanigans more and more and more. And that grip that he was trying to hang on to, that grip, okay, on on God's chosen one, that, oh man, that grip, that heaviness, right? Yeah, that feeling heavy and feeling like a bunch of burdens were just keeping you stuck inside the matrix. You walk away from that matrix spiritually. That's what we've done, and we will continue to do that. We stay out of it spiritually. We got to navigate through it, and so when we do that, we observe and just remind ourselves there's a lot of people out here who are not awake, and then there's a lot of fellow chosen ones who haven't been awakened yet. But then we get to watch a lot of those who don't know they're in a matrix, and wow, it's something else. It really is. It's something else. But those who don't know they're in a matrix, and then those who, just like in the movie where it said they're not ready to be unplugged. Well, there's truth to that. But I also got to remember this. Y'all got to remember this, that God, okay, God is the one in full control, and he will awaken us. God, the one that will unplug us from the matrix. God is the one that unplugs us from the matrix by awakening us to the narcissism and the narcissist. God's the only one who does that. Jesus saves our soul, and God awakens us, and he's the one that unplugs us. There's no man, there's no narcissist sitting there with a remote control that will unplug us from the matrix. Only God can do that. This is why we say let go and let God. And that's that. So when the Lord told me, I got here, okay, and in Texas, and I said, okay, well, that's that. And he said, yeah, the devil's at bay now, because I felt a major shift. As soon as I entered the city limits of Laredo, Texas, a major shift, I felt it in the spiritual. And I said, oh my goodness. And that's when the Lord said, he said, the devil's at bay now. Of course, he still tried some shenanigans, like this morning, okay? Even if that window was not open, I would have heard it. I don't know what it was, and it don't matter. But it was some strange howling, some noise. And I mean, it was loud. Okay, it was loud. And it was supposed to make me jump or what have you, but it didn't. But it definitely was supposed to act as somewhat of a zap, trying to scare my autonomic nervous system. And no, it didn't work. And also, like narcissists want to disrupt your sleep. So like I said, I don't know what it was, and it don't matter. It don't matter. I've discovered more things along the way getting here about how the matrix rigs things for radio frequency poisoning. And so the more we know, the more we grow. And the devil time has run out, because now that we know, okay, how radio frequency poisoning is being used and how it's being used to manipulate our autonomic nervous system as part of the traumatization in the first place. Once you know that and you understand that, then yeah, it's like, huh? And realize that all the devil has is head games. That's it. That's all he has is head games. He ain't got nothing else. And so when you realize anywhere you go, chosen one, anywhere you go, and the devil wants to try and play a head game, just remember that's what it is. It's just a head game, because you're in a spiritual battle for the mind. And so the devil's time has run out. Okay, that's it. We're in a season now where the devil's time, you get there. For those who haven't gotten there yet, hang tight, because you will. That time comes where the devil's time, it has run out. You have caught on to his shenanigans. You have caught on to things that he was trying to hide from you. Potential that he was trying to hide from you. Things that you can do for healthier living that he was trying to hide. Okay, all these parks that are easily accessible here where I'm at. That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, because that's one of the first things God had me do when I got here. Yeah, when I got to the first hotel, to got to feel things out. Once I got there and I got settled in the room, the first thing he had me do, he said, all right, look up parks. Start looking up parks to walk in. And it's like, oh my goodness, one after the other I'm finding. Some of them did not pop up on the maps. Yeah, some of the ones I'm finding did not pop up on maps when I put in public parks or walking trails. When I put that in the search query, there's several parks, memorial parks, things like that with walking trails that did not pop up. I'm finding them as I drive down the road, and I'm like, oh, there's one right there. And so I can pull in and check it out. Pull in and check it out, make note of it. And lo and behold, when I go into the maps, at that point, it'll pop up because that's where I'm located. And so I'm like, okay, now I can add that to my favorites. And so I don't have to go. This is the great thing, because when I was in Florida, there were only 3 different parks that were in decent driving distance. So this is like, wow, it's like quadruple. Seriously, and it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Well, I've only gone, let's see, 1, 2. I've only seen like 5 of them so far. Yeah, you heard me right. I said so far. The devil's time has run out because we're unlocking that treasure. That's why I want to tell y'all. By finding these parks to walk in, to get outside and get that fresh air as part of healthier living, and knowing that, guess what, you know what I can do? I said, I got me a tripod that I can go and I can set up in that park, and I can bring y'all with me on the walks. Or I could go set up by that pond that happens to be at that park, and I can do a stream right there. That's right. I mean, every single one that I have walked, that's what I look at. I'm like, ooh, that's a nice shaded spot over there. I can do a live stream right there. I can create some content over there. Glory be to God. Unlocking that treasure, one by one. And you'll feel it in the spirit. That's why I had to get on here and tell you, the devil's time has run out. The devil's time has run out. He trying to mess with your head, and you catching on to it. You realize that? Not going to happen. Not going to let him. Not going to let him steal your joy. You're not going to let him steal your happiness. You're not going to let him. We just don't do that. Chosen ones, we learn we're not going to let him. We're not going to let him steal our excitement. You know, I wondered about that too on my way here. I said, okay, I'm going to have to be on my trip. I'm going to have to be a little bit gray rock, you know, and keep it reserved, right? Okay, so we did. But then, and it's like the Lord told me, he said, yeah, well, keep it reserved till you get checked into the room. Keep it on the down low a little bit there. And so we did. And at that first hotel, we had to keep it Gray Rock, sort of. But then when we got here, it's like, okay, he said, you don't have to Gray Rock like that quite as much. Just do your thing, because they ain't looking at you anyway. I'm telling you right now, that's why the devil's time has run out, because now he has to be preoccupied with the agenda of the Matrix. He can't be watching me so closely anymore. No, he's not allowed to. Remember in the book of Revelation, when they realize we have the seal of God in our forehead, the devil's time will run out. His time is always short. And so now, like, the devil's time has run out. He has nothing. There is nothing that he can do that's going to change the path that we're on. This is God's path, the narrow path. There's nothing the devil can do. He tried everything. There's nothing left for him to try, because we could see exactly when he was trying to do it. I'm like, oh yeah, really? Like, if I go somewhere, well, what I do to get around the resistance, they got some public pools that you can go to. Couple bucks, go swimming for a couple hours. And so when you do that, you pay attention to the patterns of the people in the Matrix, like when they start to show up. Because the first time I went to the first one I went to, I didn't know yet, but it wasn't too long after I arrived that there was a group of pretty rowdy fellows, if you will, who showed up. And, you know, I don't care. I mean, it's public pool. It is what it is. But it would... yeah, they basically they basically took up almost the whole pool to play their game of throwing the tennis ball. And so I was trying to get laps in. I was like, how am I going to get my laps in? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to get swimming in back and forth when they're in a circle? They're like in the way. So I said, okay, to avoid that, I started paying attention to, and there's some other ones, I started paying attention to the time that they open, and then the time that people start to roll on in. So we pay attention to the patterns, and we're like, okay, I know how we're going to be able to do this, because I want to be able to get our laps in. And that. So anyway, so we get around that resistance. That's how the devil's time has run out. Because we see things like this, and we're like, hold on a minute. Okay, we can get around that resistance to still be able to get in the exercise that we want to get in as part of healthier living. So as we're doing that, we pay attention to that stuff. The devil's time has run out. I want y'all to put it in the comments below, even on the replay, okay? The devil's time is out. The devil's time is out. You could say he's in timeout. Put the devil in timeout. But no, his time is out. There you go. The devil's time is out. It has run out. It has run out. He ain't got nothing else. So I see what's going on with the Wi-Fi and the discrepancies and numbers and things like that. And I understand it is Monday, okay, Motivational Monday. And for whoever catches this on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, just know it was recorded on a Monday. But the devil's time will always run out. The more aware we become, not only of the narcissist, but of the devil's shenanigans. Because the same shenanigans the narcissist play are the same shenanigans that the devil will try. Them fiery darts. And it all comes down to trying to play head games. Trying to mess with your head. Trying to get in the subconscious mind. Trying to make you think things that aren't true. And you know, when I was on one of my walks at one of the parks we found, I'd go under a bridge to get to the lab. And on that bridge, a couple of very intriguing, positive messages. There's one that's from the rabbit hole, which tells me we got some fellow chosen ones here. Of course we do. All right, we got some fellow chosen ones here, because on one side of the bridge, it says, you see what you want to see. I said, oh, that's some rabbit hole fodder right there. You see what you want to see. because we do co-create our reality and God's reality. So of course, what you think of the most is what you attract more of. I know some of y'all thinking, oh, I need to start thinking about money. Be careful with that. Right? Be careful with that. I mean, it works, but you've got to have God-like patience. Oh, yes, you do. But, and be mindful of that. You don't want it to go to your head. You don't want to develop the love of money, because that can happen. And God tells us, and He doesn't tell us we can't have money, but He said, do not develop a love of money, because that's when, oh no, no, that's the root of all evil. So be mindful of that. And so, in general, though, anything you're thinking of is what you're going to attract. Your thoughts are spiritual power. And so anything you are thinking is what you're going to attract. This is why we learn perfect love casteth out all fear, because, yeah, whatever you might fear, well, that eventually it's gonna occur. Just like narcissists, right? They fear, well, everything, but they're living in fear, and they go around expecting the worst because of that and that negative thinking. So when they go around expecting the worst, well, they're going to find it. That's what they find, because that's all they're thinking about. You see, that's why chosen ones, we learn, change that thinking. We do the opposite. We're thinking positive vibes. Because I would tell you, on my walk today, I was somewhere where I know that God put us, okay? And it's somewhere where we are going to experience a bit more. There's a lot more to explore there. And I know the devil was trying to get in my thoughts. Because you got to remember something. Wherever we go, okay, in the air, the devil is the prince of the airwaves, right? Okay, so you got to remember, there's other traffic, there's narcissists somewhere. So because there's narcissists there's going to be, in the spiritual, there's going to be negative thinking, and there's going to be, it's there, okay? That's why I say, y'all, it's a spiritual battle for the mind. You have to be aware of that, and that's what was happening while I was on my walk today. I said, I know I'm coming here. God already told me, he said, we'll be, devil was trying to get me to look up other places for this one particular event, if you will, that we have going on. And I said, wait a second. No. I said, God already showed me this. He already told me. He had me come here today so I can go and actually see the setup. He said, I needed to see the setup. I could look on a map all day long. He said, but I needed to see it with my physical eyes to get more of an idea, to mentally prepare. You see, as God's been having us get a little bit here and a little bit there to go along for the event. And I'm calling it an event. You'll find out soon enough. We got to move in silence and stay low key, right? Okay. So we don't go blabbing. We just go, we go check it out. We make our plan. We're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And we know that, and I can tell you right now, just from being there for about an hour and a half, a huge difference in air quality and things like that from where we were in Florida, and then going along the Gulf into Louisiana and stuff. The air there, very, very different. And I'm learning more about that for our movement, combating radio frequencies for healthier living. And I can tell you this, okay, whereas I talk about this on the Patreon channel a lot more, and I'm still digesting it and observing and things like that as I learn how the Matrix does the radio frequency poisoning thing here, because he does. I mean, the Matrix does, the devil, of course. And so I do see perm clouds, is what I call them, the light white ones. But then I also see the charcoal cloud, but not as much. And the smell that's associated with it smells like someone's grilling hot dogs all the time. And I said, I know people are not grilling hot dogs all the time, but that don't bother me. See, I remember something from my master's program about cytochrome P450 enzymes that help to metabolize toxic substances. And there are certain ethnic groups, okay, that have certain CYP, that's what they're called, CYP enzyme, to break down and metabolize toxic substances. Well, when you think about the chemicals in the air, those are salt. They're toxins, okay? They are chemicals. And so our bodies, different ethnic groups may have the CYP enzyme that will break down a particular chemical compound, okay? Whereas yours truly, on the East Coast, I must be lacking in some of those CYP enzymes, meaning I was never born with them in the first place. I don't know. This is just what my theory. This is what, the only thing that makes sense scientifically. Spiritually, I can make sense of that all day long, but scientifically speaking, as to why my body's responding a lot better to the air quality here, even though it does have it's not a charcoal smell like on the East, but it is more of somebody's grilling hot dog. So it is another kind of salt chemical compound being used in the air, but it's very different. And it must be one that I do have adequate CYP enzyme to break down. That's the only thing that makes sense as to why on the East Coast I had this constant, I mean, it was like, my goodness, that RF symptom, why does it keep coming back? I said, now I know why. I said, it's the only thing that makes sense, because I was breathing that stuff in, right? Okay, so you get out of that. You get, whenever your body gets away from a toxic substance that is, or you get out of the environment of toxicity in that way, then your body will start naturally, rather quickly too, start to repair itself. And so I'm noticing that. And I was like, okay, what's the difference? I said, because they're still using some kind of mind control here. I mean, the Matrix is going to do that, using radio frequencies and chemicals, of course. And so I said, well, obviously. And then I said, well, I have to think about the majority of the population in this area and the ethnic background. And then I remember reading about that in my master's program, and I've got several textbooks about those enzymes, the CYP 450 enzymes. And I said, oh my goodness, because there are some needed to break down certain chemical compounds. So if an ethnic group is lacking a particular, let's just say, family of CYPs needed to naturally break down the chemical compound, let's say it smells like grilling hot dogs all the time, okay, if they don't have the CYP enzymes to metabolize and break that down, it's going to have a negative impact on them. Most likely, their sinuses. Whereas yours truly, I do have the CYPs. And so it not affecting me at all. So that's that. And so a little bit of toxicological education for y'all right there about enzyme, and that's the only thing that makes sense to me as why when I was on the East and that humidity and the charcoal smell was prolonging a lot of things that should have already been long gone. But it's because I was constantly being exposed, and that humidity was putting excess pressure on the outside. And so I said, okay, I was breathing in that stuff. So that makes sense. And so for that particular chemical compound, I don't have the necessary CYPs, or at least not enough of them. So that's another thing too. So depending on the ethnic background, that's going to determine in certain areas. I see the devil would know that. Of course, the devil would know that, because he's want to make sure that using radio frequency poisoning and then chemicals in the air, he had to make sure he uses chemicals in the air that will have the desired negative impact on the majority of the population in an area. Of course. But the perm smell, it will affect anybody, because it's the ammonia is, yeah, okay. And then I don't know what other stuff is in there, but all I know is that is meant to target your joints. All right, so I'll be bringing you more about all of that on the Patreon channel as well. So that gives you a little bit of a snippet of the type of content that you will dive into when you unlock access to the exclusive content on Patreon. That Patreon link is listed below for as little as $5 a month. Seriously, y'all, a lot of great content. The value, okay, the value with God's wisdom, basic scientific facts, tried and true techniques, and more. The value, you really got to think about it. You got to think about it. $5 a month is not much. Okay, and you get a lot of education. You're going to get a lot of the tips and hack and things. And I have digital products available for y'all also that go right in line with our combating radio frequency for healthier living. It's all part of it to become aware of these things. So there you go. All right, and I just wanted to get on here and because of this level of awareness, now knowing the difference between the CYP enzyme and the difference in the smells and the air quality, the devil's time has run out. It can't try and trick me with any of that anymore because my sense of smell is going to pick it up. It's going to pick it up. And so, and I can smell the metals in the air. I can smell the metals. Oh, yeah. So, that being said, okay, the devil's time has run out for God's chosen one. That's it. The devil's time has run out. I mean, we're going to see his shenanigans like that. And there ain't nothing that he can do about it. You can't stop God. And glory be to God for that. So as we continue to become aware and get educated and to better understand why our bodies are responding the way that they are to certain environments and certain air qualities and things like that, or toxicity, if you will, our autonomic nervous system, it is our threat detector. It is it's another part of our radar. God's intuition is a radar, but so is our ANS. And it will tell us because of our 5 senses. So never forget that. Very, very important. And don't let the devil trick you into thinking you didn't see what you saw or heard what you heard, because he wants to use that cognitive dissonance as a weapon of deception. And we don't let him do that to us anymore. We're like, no, we saw what we saw. That narcissist, we heard what we heard. And we no longer excuse it. We don't ignore it. We just keep it moving. All right, you all, that wraps up this Motivational Monday message. Okay, real quick. Just wanted to get on here and give y'all that the devil's time has run out. And it always will. So the and more comes in with a little bit of enzyme, biological, scientific information, as the difference in air quality has been detected between the East Coast and here in Laredo, Texas. So I am just going to keep bringing more of that to y'all because I'm fascinated by it. I think it's really intriguing, but it makes sense to me now as to why. Because of the demographics and the possibility of certain ethnic background not having the necessary CYPs to properly metabolize the toxicity that's in the air here. Whereas yours truly does have at least the ones that are trying to target the sinus cavity. That's what the charcoal smell on the East Coast is for, is to target the sinus cavity. All right, y'all, check out those links listed below. Don't forget, when you go to CHA-Academy-BTBW.com, click on all courses to see everything that we have. We have more coming to you, so stay tuned. All right, and listen, the value there as well. Don't forget about CHAA25. That'll get you 25% off up to 3 different courses. You can use that coupon code CHAA25 3 different times for 3 different courses. And so you want to click on all courses when you go to CHAAcademy-BTBW.com, and you will get a lot of value there. And that coupon code is good for the one-time payment, not the 5 monthly installments, but you do have the 5 monthly installment option if that works better for you. I look forward to seeing you in our community forum at CHAAcademy-BTBW.com. And welcome to our growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ here at Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you in Jesus' name. Amen.